Okay, so last time we built this simple web page using just HTML tags, but I didn't tell you the entire story. So there's some HTML tags that are missing from this document that would make this a valid web page. I didn't want to get into the details too much because it's enough just to learn what a tag is and some of the basic tags. Is a lot to remember. So now we're going to take a look and see what the real HTML document looks like. So I'm going to show you where you can find this additional information you need on my website. Hey, look, it's my website. And under lesson 1, or unit 1, lesson 1, at the end we have the basic HTML document, which you can click on, and then you can view the source, and you can see some new HTML that you haven't seen before. So I'm just going to copy this over, and I'm just going to make some space in my web page. I'm going to paste it in. I'll explain what these things are. So just so you know, this won't make too much of a difference in terms of what our page looks like. It will still look mostly like this. However, it will set the stage for the next step, which is going to be using style sheets to make our websites look pretty. So just to go over the details about how this stuff, what this stuff is all about. We'll start with the top thing. It's a doctype HTML. Doctype basically means that we're using a specific version of HTML. And when you say doctype HTML, what you really mean is you're using HTML5, which is the newest version of HTML. And that way a browser knows that, hey, the HTML that you're typing in here is supposed to be version 5. It'll prevent some weird mistakes from happening from the browsers messing up your code by interpreting it as some older version of HTML. So make sure you have that in there, otherwise your CSS won't work too well. And then the next tag that every page should have is the HTML tag. It seems a little bit redundant to say that, hey, everything in my .html file is going to be HTML, but it turns out you can actually have stuff other than HTML in your HTML document, so this is where all the HTML lives. Later on we'll learn about something called JavaScript, which we're going to stick into our website, so that might be handy. Also, technically you can put CSS into your websites, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So basically everything in your website is going to go between this open and close HTML tag. And then the next two sections are, I'll shrink this down a bit. So the next two sections are the head and the body. So just like a human being, HTML document has a head on top of its body, and inside of the head has got all these crazy looking tags, and this is all stuff for the web browser to think about. So none of this information will show up inside of your website. It's just to control the browser itself. So just to show you what these things are, so inside of the head tag we have a meta tag. There's a lot of uses for meta tags. In this particular instance, we need to tell the browser we're using this. Essentially what this is Unicode, which means that our website could technically have any language in it. It's not essential, but if you want to follow the correct standards for web design, then you should specify that you are using Unicode, and there's no reason not to. The next section is the title of the document, and the title of the document in the title tags is what will show up inside of the browser on the tab of your browser. So if you don't have it, it'll just be the file name, but we can actually specify a particular title. So in this, I'm going to say this page is about me, so I'm going to call this Mr. Pelche, this document. And then the next tag is something called a link tag, which will link this file to a CSS file. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next lesson. So it's going to be really important to have that in there. Basically, a CSS file is going to be a file full of all the rules that will tell our website, what color to be, how big should the text be, what font should the text be, all those rules about making the website look pretty. So that sets us up for being ready to start doing that stuff in our websites. And then last but not least, we have the body tag, and the body tag contains all the stuff you did before. So if I scroll down, here's my title, the pictures, the paragraphs, the lists, the links, all that stuff. That's going to go be what's in our body. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to cut it, and the new place where that goes in your website is going to be right here in between the two body tags. I'll paste that in. Now the formatting gets all kind of wonky. Technically what you should do is have all of your tags indented to the same level, one level indented from body, because they're just like the UL tags before. The same rule applies for our formatting. So you just tab those in, and actually you can select a bunch of lines at the same time and tab them. So actually I can select everything and press tab. Okay, there you go. So that's going to be a correctly formatted HTML document.